This is College Talk with Dean Aldemaro Romero Jr., a weekly program exploring the lives and work of the people of the Weissman School of Arts and Sciences at Baruch College.
Hello everybody. This is a very special edition of College Talk. Instead of being in a studio interviewing someone, today we are celebrating the Art-A-Thon, a day-long marathon of artistic events taking place here at Baruch College, 15 in all.
All our practice rooms are filled all the time with students wanting to play. So I thought, let's give them a simple lesson in how to play the blues. It's only going to be 20 minutes to a half an hour. I have the music here. I'm going to show them the hand positions. I'm going to show them the chords. And it's my hope that after the lesson, they'll come and they'll practice and they'll be able to play it on their own. And if they need a little help, I'll be here for them. So I want to spread the word about the blues, about playing. I want them to be involved. And I have to say, this is such a wonderful occasion, Dean Romero, just to have the opportunity to talk about the arts, to do it, to actually participate. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. I think it's a happy day for us.
I think that for an Art-A-Thon, a marathon reading seemed appropriate to do something that really was playing with the intensity and the length of the day. I'd been involved with them in a couple of other campuses, and they're just really exciting events. They bring a lot of different student populations. One of the things about the length of the event, it'll last all day, is that you really get a sense of the rhythms of the campus. You'll be jam-packed at lunchtime. We're getting pizza in later. And then it'll kind of like ebb and flow throughout the day. You get different students all day long. I'm hoping also to get some faculty up here, some administrators like yourself. So you really get a kind of taste of a lot of the campus community at once. And I thought especially for a place like Baruch that doesn't have like a big main quad, we could get that kind of sense of community and intimacy that up here on the 14th floor.
This is about introducing students to improv theater. Improv theater builds confidence, it's fun, it builds community, and it's just an introduction to what improv theater and improv acting is all about. The most difficult part is to get people to let go of their inhibitions. Once people let go of their inhibitions, it's actually very easy. So the biggest hurdle is just getting people to feel comfortable and let go of thinking about what other people think of them and just kind of go with the moment.
The Typewriter Rodeo, inspired by Typewriter Rodeo of Austin, Texas, is a fiction and poetry on-the-spot station for Arts Day, Art-A-Thon at Baruch. And so we will have a haiku writer and a flash fiction writer here for the next couple of hours, giving students and passersby a piece of art they can take away, generated on vintage typewriters. So I think there's something to be said for the idea of the manual labor that goes into writing and the act of writing as a gesture of artistic labor.
It's really about getting students to see that books aren't just the contents, they're also about a physical material thing, and in a digital age that's really important. Not that digital books aren't good, but it's easy for us to lose the fact that mediums change how the book works. So getting students to do something that's hands-on, they can make their own thing, and to really experience that materiality also allows them to appreciate what's going on in a digital world because it's by contrast. Well, I've had a lot of experience working with students of various age range, and so I actually did this first in a kind of scholars program for at-risk students who were going into high school but were very gifted, and so we knew we always wanted to do hands-on learning, and so we made projects with newspaper books or paper bag books, but then I realized people shortchange college-age students that they also really like to learn with their hands. They remember things that way, and like, it's good. Learning is doing, and the more multimodal you can be, I think the more people remember it. So yeah. And as this is my former student, and she actually was like, oh, my mom never knows what I'm going to do, right? When I go to school, she's like, what are you doing? And she's like, finally, I'll be able to take her something home. And I thought that was a really awesome thing too.
Is designed to introduce students to the sonnet form, especially the Shakespearean sonnet, but to do it in the reverse order that I would in the classroom. So sonnets are little intellectual puzzles. And in class, we start with analysis. We say, well, what's the argument of the poem? And then we build out what metaphors is Shakespeare using, and then finally, how do the sounds of the sonnet affect the meaning? Today, we're actually going to start from the sounds. Because really, before we analyze a text, before we interpret a text, we experience the text. And we experience it with our senses, whether we're actually hearing it, or whether we're speaking it out loud, or whether we're hearing it with our inner ear. Poems especially, but really all texts, are embodied. And so we're going to play around with the sounds of the poem, with the rhythm, with the rhymes. And the poem we're going to be working on, Sonnet 20, plays with those things. So it fits the sonnet conventions, but it adds a syllable here and there. And the rhyme scheme is a little trickier than usual. So that'll be, we'll begin just by hearing it and speaking it a few times, and then we'll start the work of analysis by thinking about, where do the sounds push us? What are they asking us to think about analytically? So I didn't start with this topic. There is an evolution. So normally in my Shakespeare classes, I focus on the plays. And I have a background in theater. And so it started, I wanted to think about, well, how can we get students to speak the speeches, to build a little acting into this. But then the sonnets suggested themselves because they are, even though they're in a sequence, there are 154 of them, they're self-enclosed. So you can do a whole sonnet, you can own that sonnet and carry it around with you. So sonnets were sort of what happened when I abandoned the idea of plays.
This is a poetry revel. It's an annual event. And it's held each year in the honors classroom, and we're happy to have it on a day on which the Art-A-Thon is taking place and celebrating art as well, because that's our mission. We believe that art can save us. I believe that poetry is our salvation. In a world where bodies are burned in explosions, where in a new travel ban, children will be separated from their mothers, torn from their parents. And terrible things are happening every day. What can we do? We can write. We can read. We can participate in art which is higher than ourselves and which carries the belief that people are just and good and equal and right. And the students are fired up about this, always have been. You can look at the students tonight and see the enthusiasm, the fire in them. They don't have to be there. They are here. Each one will read a poem by themselves or by a poet they admire. And they're all here to celebrate poetry and celebrate creativity and the art. And it's very exciting, it's fun.
This event is about the confluence of performing art and social justice. There's been a history from Greek and Roman theater to the modern times of performing art forms being the vehicle for the passions and interests of socially motivated people. We have a panel of activist arts makers and presenters. We have Shanta Thake from Joe's Pub at the Public Theater. We have Kennedy Prize winner, performer and writer Taylor Mack. We have Urban Bush Women Dance Company, Heidi Latsky, who is both a choreographer and a disability activist. They will each be giving examples of how their work is a combination of activism and performing art.
And there you have it, 15 different artistic events in a single day. A real marathon, the kind of things that can happen only at Baruch College. And next week, something different too. So stay tuned.
This has been College Talk with Dean Aldemaro Romero Jr., a production of the Weissman School of Arts and Sciences at Baruch College. All rights reserved, 2017.